Okay guys, I'm gonna make a quick video. For some reason it shut off a second ago when I was making it. But I had mentioned the bait that I make. And, well, I think I mentioned it in that squirrel bait video. But all it is, now, well, before I get into that, to me, you have commercial baits, and a lot of them, they're basically just Bill Nelson's formula, and different lure makers have maybe added something a little different to it, this, that, and the other. Now, I'm not saying that what he makes is bad. I mean, there's no question it's caught, God, probably tens upon tens upon tens of thousands of coyotes, fox, cats. But instead of going off of bobcat meat, what I've actually done, and another thing to add to that, is, to me, I would rather have a fresh, you know, like a fresh bait, like fresh meat, instead of it being rotten or tainted or whatever. And what this is it's actually deer meat. And it was an old tenderloin I had in my freezer. I guess I had forgot that it was in there. It got pushed to the back or whatever happened. But what I done, I cut it up into probably inch pieces, put it in a big bowl, and I took regular salt, just regular old table salt. From there, to keep the bait, or to keep the meat fresh the way it was whenever I cut it up, I just took salt, salted it really good, put it in this jar, and I let it sit for, maybe 3 or 4 days. And I put it in my refrigerator. I sealed the top real good. I actually made a few more of these, but this is the only one that I have left. But what I done, I took it out of the refrigerator after I salted it. And then, what I done, I put it, back in another glass dish to where I can mix it around. And I added raw honey, not the kind you get at the store, something like you would buy at a farmer's market or like a little country produce stand. It's just plain, unfiltered, unstrained, regular raw honey. I put maybe a tablespoon of that in there. Okay. And what that does to me, that I've found out, is it kind of gives the other stuff that I put in there a sweeter, kind of a sweeter smell, if that makes any sense. And some of the properties of honey, it kind of, it's kind of hard to explain, but what it does, in my experience, is whatever ingredients you put in here besides the actual meat, it kind of makes them sweeter, and, well, at least for castor, it makes it more, it, I don't know how to explain it. For beaver castor, it keeps the smell of the castor, if that makes any sense. And it makes it smell, makes the whole bait smell a little bit sweeter. But what I put in here, after I've let this sit for, 3 or 4 days after it's salted, I'll mix it up. And by then, it gets to where it's almost like stringy. To kind of show you, it's almost the consistency of like at this point, it's basically kind of like dog food. It's not like a pate, but it's basically like a ground. I mean, it's not chunks of meat anymore. It's all broke up. But what that does, when it's broke up like that, it allows whatever else you put in here to absorb a lot better. And now I'll go ahead and tell you what else I put in here. Besides the deer meat, you know, it's fresh deer meat. All I done was salt it. And it kind of sort of preserves it. It doesn't make it go bad or taint. But what else I put in here? I put a little bit of a lure in here. And it's actually Locklear's Muskie. And what's in there, it's 5 different weasel style glands. And the predominant odor in there is mink. And you can smell it when you take the lid off. But I put probably about the same amount of that lure as I did the honey. You know, roughly maybe a heaping teaspoon or a tablespoon. Then I put about a half an ounce of really, really good castor in it. Okay. Mixed it up. I let it sit for maybe another 3 days. And then I put about a tablespoon of bacon grease in it. Now, kind of what that's going to do for you with the salt, it's going to keep it from it's really good when it rains. The bacon grease, it keeps it basically from all the odors washing out. Like if your dirt hole fills up, the way I run my dirt holes is I actually showed you that one. It's a great big dirt hole, and the actual bed or the trench kind of slopes towards the hole. And there's 2 things that'll do for you. It's gonna keep your set from being a swimming pool, and you know, it's just gonna wash everything down into the hole. And as deep as the hole is, when I put a big chunk of this bait down in there with the bacon grease, that water, if the dirt hole would fill up, which you'd have to have a torrential downpour or monsoon for that to happen as big as the hole is, but it'll create almost like an oil slick on the whole inside of that hole when it goes back down. But this is a really, really, really good bait. I mean, for coyotes, fox, cats. Cats really like it. I mean, bait isn't really a key thing on cats, but when I've used it, it's you know, worked pretty good. But that's basically all that's in here. It's just deer. It's got really, really good castor. Now, what I mean by that is the castor that I use where I'm located out here in Virginia, it's got more of a southern, guys that trap here in the South will know what I mean. It's got more of like a cedar, like a cedary pine kind of a smell to it, almost like an antiseptic kind of smell. And I put about a half an ounce of castor in there. I put, you know, roughly a tablespoon of Clint Locklear's Muskie, which is the predominant odor of that is mink. I put about a tablespoon of honey and a tablespoon of bacon grease. And what I'll do, I'll just mix it up. I'll let it sit. And you have the smell that you end up with is fresh deer meat with a sweet kind of a castory mink gland smell to it. I mean, it's got a really, really nice smell to it. It's not like a rotten smell. It just smells like fresh deer meat and a sweet minky castor, if that makes sense. But this is a bait you can make. It's really easy to make. It works basically all year, especially early season trapping where you still got deer season. Everybody's shooting deer, and you know, they say they field dress it and they just leave the carcass and take the meat, you know, coyotes are going to eat on that throughout the deer season. But even after deer season, especially those first 2 weeks, well, probably the first month after deer season, this really, really, really shines because they're hunting that smell, the smell of the deer meat where it's been deer season, because they know that there's going to be, you know, dead deer laying around. But anyways, guys, if you guys want more info on this bait, just let me know. You can, like I said, it's easy to make. You can make it at home. And where I trap in the mountains, you know, in the national forest, a lot of times people just throw their deer carcasses just everywhere, which I'm not going to get into that. But this is a really, really, really good producing bait for any of you guys that want to use it. So, you know, just let me know in the comments if you guys want to know anything else about it. I'll try to explain everything that I can. But this is a really good bait, guys. Hope you like it.